take this free course. It's called Khanacademy. So we're just gonna take a peek. The course I took is called Growth Mindset. Growth Mindset Activity. The Growth Mindset Activity are designed to help your student build growth mindset and develop learning strategies to start the school year strong. Okay. For teachers. Okay. Other like text work. Okay. Thought this was video. They're like. Okay. So we're gonna start the truth about your brain. In the video, it's supposed to be like find some like that I fuck with. At the end of this activity, you will be able to understand how your brain changes and grows when you challenge yourself to learn new things. You are your own example. The biggest example of brain growth is you. Think about when you were born. There are many skills you know that you didn't know you were born. There are many skills you know now that you didn't know when you were born. Some of these skills are very simple. Some of them are very complex, and you may be still learning them. Speaking, walking, tying your shoes, reading, and writing are just a few examples of everything your brain has grown to learn. You can learn anything. Reading faster. Think back to how hard it was when you began to learn to read. I still find it hard. Everyone struggles with it, and we get better through our life. We get faster and faster with more practice. Reading is similar to working on math. It helps improve memory, though, and visual sections of the brain. As you get better at reading, your brain becomes better primed to remember song, melody, plays, dance, routine, and many other things. Okay, so this suggests reading. Okay. Learning a new language. Learning a new language strengthens the parts of your brain associated with memory, thought, and action. By learning a different language, you can recall more descriptive vocabulary, making you more expressive in your native language. Practicing an instrument, improve the visual, auditory, and motor section of the brain. It also strengthens the bridge between the two halves of your brain, allowing messages to get across the brain more quickly. There are a lot of activities that can become easier as the two halves of your brain gets used to working together. Playing sports, building a social network, and execute your creative ideas requires both sides of your brain. Okay, when I play basketball, I need to like be more creative. I need to practice more. Okay. You were born to learn. The common denominator of all of these examples is that you have the power to grow your brain by challenging yourself and working hard to learn new things. I have completed part 1 of part 3. Okay. Oh, there's a video. Okay. How to grow your brain. 40 years ago, we seemed to know more about the moon than we did about our own brain's work. Not anymore. We're excited to share some new discovery with you. So how does the brain work? Let's see a video.
Us. It's what does. We know that our brain is what makes us us. It's what does all of our thinking. It's what processes all of the sensory input from the outside world and creates this reality in our brain that we experience. It is us. So the question is, what is the brain actually made up of? And it's primarily made up of neurons, and these are depictions of neurons right over here. And the current view on how the brain processes information, it's by these different neurons triggering, by getting excited and then stimulating other neurons. And as these signals go through this huge neural network that has 80 to 100 billion neurons, that electrochemical signal going through this neural network is essentially our thought. It's essentially our intelligence. It's arguably essentially us. So given that, a question arises. What determines our ability to do things? What determines our intelligence? And one school of thought is that, okay, maybe you're either just born with it, or you either have it or you don't. Some people are smart, some people are less smart. Or maybe you can change it. And it turns out there's actually been a lot of research on this in the last few decades. And the answer is pretty clear, that your intelligence can actually be changed. What we've learned, what researchers have taught us, is that our brains are actually...
At birth, at age of 6, nerves and brain of animal living in bear cage. Brain of animal living in other animal. Brain of... Wow.
A lot like a muscle. We know that you can grow your muscles by going into the gym and doing exercise and cells, and they come back stronger. By struggling, it's a signal to your body.
At birth we have some, but then at age of 6 we have a lot of neurons. Look at this. Nerves in brain of animal living in bear cage have barely neurons. But like when you see brain of animal living in with other animals and toys, that's when you get to see more. Damn, that's crazy. Free all the
body
animals
to
from
devote
the cage,
more resources to that part of the body. And we see that exact same thing with the brain. And here are just a couple of examples of it. This first one, this shows how the human brain develops in early childhood. This is a depiction of the neurons in a brain at birth. And then as a child develops, it interacts with its environment. It tries things out. It struggles. It struggles to talk, to converse, to interact with folks, to understand the world around it. And as it struggles, you see that by age 6, you have a much deeper and much stronger connectedness between the different neurons. Similarly, I can never say that word. These are depictions of these are the neurons of two different scenarios. This is the nerves of animals that were in unstimulating environments where they're not around other animals. They're in a bear cage. And then this is the brain of an animal that is in a stimulating environment, that is constantly being challenged, that is constantly looking at stimulating new things. And so the big takeaway from this whole area of research is you absolutely can change your intelligence, that your brain is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets, and that the best way to grow it isn't to do things that are easy for you. That might help a little bit. But what really helps your brain is when you struggle with things. And it's actually, research shows that your brain grows the most not when you get a question right, but when you get a question wrong. So at least for me, this is incredible, right? Is when you struggle with things. And it's actually research shows that your brain grows the most not when you get a question right, but when you get a question wrong. So at least for me, this is incredibly exciting because it lets me know that when I'm going through something and I'm facing those times of maybe a little bit of adversity or a little bit of frustration, I can feel good about the fact that those are actually the times that I am growing the most. And this isn't just something that I'm saying, nice words. Research tells us when you get something wrong, when you challenge your brain, when you review why you got it wrong, when you really process that feedback, that's when your brain grows the most. And then if you keep doing that, you're well on your way to having a stronger, more able, and I guess you could say, smarter brain.
That was dope. That was that was really dope. Neuroplasticity, your brain can change. Since humankind started studying our own brains, we have tried to quantify quantify the capacity of the brain and how intelligent and smart someone is. The real question though is not if you're smarter than someone else, but whether you can be smarter than you are today. Yes, no matter how smart you are now, you can always make yourself smarter. There is no limit to how smart you can be, and smartness is a process. How do we know that your smartness can increase and that your brain can get stronger? There's a concept called neuroplasticity, neuroplasticity research by Dr. Michael Merzenich, who was a professor at the University of California, San Francisco. Dr. Merzenich has done extensive studies mapping and doing CT scans on the brains of a person, a monkey, and a rat as they learn a skill. They put that on purpose together. A rat. Uh, he's noticed that regardless of age or species, brains have the ability to change themselves to fit their own needs. The brain can change in response to, to thoughts and behaviors and is often influenced by environment. Your neurons can rewire, become more dense, and with the right effort and learning strategies, your brain can adapt and change, making you smarter. Growing your brain, Dr. Merzenish research more than neuroplasticity and brain growth. He also discovered that practicing one activity can improve your performance on another seemingly unrelated activity. Let's listen to him talk about the research he's done over the past decades.
Well, we've actually trained athletes. You can say on the sort of academic side of training, you would not necessarily imagine. And guess what? It improves their performance on the field. Well, it's happening for a couple of reasons. One reason is trained athletes. You can say on the sort of academic side of training, you would not necessarily imagine. And guess what? It improves their performance on the field. Well, it's happening for a couple of reasons. One reason is that you're training a person to be more alert, more on the ball, they're more engaged. You're heavily exercising the machinery of the brain that's controlling its capacity to learn. You know, there's an interesting thing about athletic training. Focuses massively on the body. And that's sort of in the level of professional athletics, that's sort of to the peak. I mean, how could you improve, a great athlete on a professional level physically? But they're all improvable cognitively. They're all improvable in here. They still have a ways to go by training in here. How about smarter? How about quicker in their decision making? How about seeing more and responding to it more accurately? Logic, reasoning, and the brain machinery itself that's controlling learning are all improving. Now I'm going to use my brain for some other purpose, maybe some very different purpose. Maybe I'm going to throw or catch a baseball. It matters. I now have a different machine than I had before. I spent all of that time in the class, on the Khanacademy class. You have a different and better brain, and it will matter to you. It will count on the positive side from the point of view of your neurological capacities, of course. You have this resource. Every one of us has this resource. How effectively are you using it? And I wish every young person, I wish every adult could understand that they're probably underutilizing this resource, right? And undervaluing it. The best way to throw away this asset is just to accept the fact that you have some dark fate, right? That means you have no real potential because that's who you are. What a silly and scientifically incorrect attitude that is.
That's right, man. Come on. You can learn anything. Yeah, man. Yesterday I went to play basketball. There was these two dudes. And one of them dudes. Like, we were waiting to play. But we had to wait long, like, we were like waiting to play for a while. And then when we thought it was our turn, they said no, so we had to wait another game. But he got so he was bitching. I'm sorry. He was like, oh man, like, I don't want to play no more. Like, he was like that, and I was really annoying. But I'm just saying, like, even now I was like, fuck, but like, whatever, we'll play next game. But I'm not saying, oh my god. I'm not trying to look like he did that wrong and I did that right. Like, I'm not trying to lift myself up. I'm just saying, like, I don't want that type of mentality no more. Like, just be like, fuck this. Like, I don't want that anymore. But then we played and we lost. And I was like, fuck. I was really down on myself. Because I didn't score. But I played defense, but I didn't score. I did a bad pass. And I missed a layup. Chin up. That's what I try to do when, like, I don't score or, like, I did a bad turnover. I try to keep my chin up. There's always room for improvement, man. Like, I know I ain't good at basketball. I want to improve, man. So let's see what they got to say. I want to rewatch it. Hold on.
Well, we've actually trained athletes. You can say on the sort of academic side of training, you would not necessarily imagine. And guess what? It improves their performance on the field. Well, it's happening for a couple of reasons. One reason is that you're training a person to be more alert, more on the ball, they're more engaged. You're heavily exercising the machinery of the brain that's controlling its capacity to learn. You know, there's an interesting thing about athletic training. Focuses massively on the body. And that's sort of in the level of professional athletics, that's sort of to the peak. I mean, how could you improve, you know, a great athlete on a professional level physically? But they're all improvable cognitively. They're all improvable in here. They still have a ways to go by training in here. How about smarter? How about quicker in their decision making? How about seeing more and responding to it more accurately? Logic, reasoning, and the brain machinery itself that's controlling learning are all improving. Now I'm going to use my brain for some other purpose, maybe some very different purpose. Maybe I'm going to throw or catch a baseball. It matters. I now have a different machine than I had before. I spent all of that time in the class, on the Khanacademy class. You have a different and better brain, and it will matter to you. It will count on the positive side from the point of view of your neurological capacities, of course. You have this resource. Every one of us has this resource. How effectively are you using it? And I wish every young person, I wish every adult could understand that they're probably underutilizing this resource, right? And undervaluing it. The best way to throw away this asset is just to accept the fact that you have some dark fate, right? That means you have no real potential because that's who you are. What a silly and scientifically incorrect attitude that is.
As Dr. Merzenich explained, we can change our brain. He gave the example that practicing math problem can help an athlete accuracy and decision making on the field. Oh, I ain't good at math. Fuck, that's you see, that's I'm having a bad attitude. I can learn. Well, he said he gave the example that practicing math problem can help an athlete. Math problem. I need to try some math, boys and girls. There are many examples of how your brain changes, sometimes in ways you don't expect when you learn new things. Yeah, math problem. I mean, shit, I'm open to it. It's just, well, I have the willpower to actually do it. Next article. You can learn anything. Learning and practicing helps strengthen and change our brain as we make mistakes, work through problems that are actually for us and perceive, and we build new neural pathways in the brain.
Nobody's born smart. We all start at zero. Can't talk, can't walk, certainly can't do algebra. Adding, reading, riding a bike. Nobody's good at anything at first. There was a time when Einstein couldn't count to 10. And Shakespeare had to learn his ABCs just like the rest of us. Thankfully, we're born to learn. Slowly, surely, you stumble, slip, crawl, fall, and fail, and fall. Frustrating, confusing, trying, struggling, until one day, you walk. One foot in front of the other, one idea on top of the next, each wrong answer making your brain a little bit stronger. Failing is just another word for growing, and you keep going. This is learning. Knowing that you'll get it, even if you haven't gotten it yet. Because the most beautiful, complex concepts in the whole universe are built on basic ideas that anyone, anywhere, can understand. Whoever you are, wherever you are, you only have to know one thing. You can learn anything.
That's a nice, nice motivational video. All learning can build new neural pathway, but learning things that are challenging for you can supercharge your brain growth. Take a moment to reflect. Answer these questions and reflect on the truth about your brain and to complete the activity. Name a skill that you know now and can do smoothly that you couldn't do when you were born. I mean, walking. I don't know. How does your brain look different from when you were born, when you were learning that skill, and now? Oh, which skill? Oh, I had problems walking. I had to wear different kind of shoes when walking. Yeah, okay. I'll use walking, actually. Now it's just automatic. Show the most important thing you learn from the why is this learning important? Most important thing you learn. I mean, he said attitude. That's what got to me. To have this attitude that you can learn anything. That's what I like on what he said. What is something that you would like to learn? A bunch of things that I would like to learn. A bunch of things. And I can learn them. I want to improve on trading. I want to improve so many things. How would learning a new skill improve your life? I don't know. Damn. Improve social skills. I don't know. I would like that. Oh, okay. Oh. We're done with the truth about the brain.